He wrote, "The light has gone out of my life," in a pitch of energy reminiscent of the period following his father's death. Roosevelt abruptly took off for the Badlands of Dakota, where he lived out his conviction that black care rarely sits behind a rider whose pace is fast enough. He hunted, wrote books, and ran a cattle ranch. The hard work ultimately made wide inroads in his grief. He returned to the East, remarried, and threw himself back into politics with a gusto. President Benjamin Harrison, who had appointed him civil servant commissioner, said that the crusading Roosevelt wanted to put an end to all the evil in the world between sunrise and sunset. Rudyard Kipling found himself caught up in a gentler form of Roosevelt's persuasive energies, and like most, was completely captivated. After dining with him at the Cosmos Club in Washington, Kipling knew himself bewitched. "I curled up on the seat opposite and listened and wondered until the universe seemed to be spinning around, and Theodore was the spinner." Roosevelt loped onward from post to post. He served energetically in the Navy, then led the U.S. Volunteer Cavalry Rough Riders during the Spanish-American War. His zest for war as for life knew few limits. He had enough energy and enthusiasm to inspire a whole regiment. Roosevelt exulted that the war was bully, a great day in his life. He seemed to relish his brushes with death. He was recommended for the Medal of Honor. He was elected governor of New York, and within a few years of time was vice president of the United States. And he became, at the age of 42, with the assassination of William McKinley, the youngest president in U.S. history. The president goes from one to another, speaking with great animation, gesturing freely, and in fact talking with his whole being. 100 times a day the president will laugh, and when he laughs, he does it with the same energy with which he talks. You don't smile with Mr. Roosevelt, you shout with laughter with him. Then you shout again when he tries to cork up more laughter. The White House rung out not only with laughter, but with squeals of children. "You must always remember," said a British diplomat, "the president is about 6 years old." Certainly, Roosevelt did nothing to dispel that impression. His zeal was infectious. His magnetic force surrounded him as a kind of nimbus, imperceptible but irresistibly drawing to him everyone who came into his presence. Roosevelt used his intelligence and infectious enthusiasm to render unprecedented reform through the actions of federal government. Nowhere was this more obvious or lasting than in his drive to preserve the American wilderness. By the time Roosevelt became president, America's resources had been stripped. Native bison herds were decimated. Only 800 of the original 60 million animals survived. Roosevelt acted quickly to stop the destruction.